I thought this time I would do the review a little different this time. We're going to talk about how divorce or a hard breakup could really change your life. I'm going to show you a video really quick that pertains to why I wanted to make this video. I'm going to play this video and then we about to get on with this game.
When I was growing up as a kid, I was always the shy, quiet kid. Didn't know how to socialize and communicate my feelings. I remember I'd have a couple close friends, but I wasn't the popular kid, and I always wanted to be that. I remember watching TV shows like Saved by the Bell or like Beverly Hills 90210, where there was always the popular kid, and I always wondered why that wasn't me. Or, I guess I was just born this way, I took this mindset all the way up through through high school. I desperately wanted girls to like me. I wanted to be, the popular kid, Zach Morris. And that never happened. I was still very quiet and shy. I never learned social skills. So I stayed to myself, and I had the bright idea that, if they're not going to like my personality, I guess I'll be the guy who does drugs and is the cool, outcast. So I started smoking weed a lot, drinking a lot of alcohol, just trying to be the cool guy that fit in. And I made some friends that way. And I thought, this is fun. They're fun guys. I like to meet new people. Kept that up until, I was 18. And still never really had a girlfriend. I had a couple of girls who liked me, but they showed interest in me. I was never capable of showing any interest in them. And this kept up until, I was 22. I met the girl who would become my wife. And she chose me, I was happy that somebody wanted to be with me, that I had a girlfriend that liked my personality. We had fun together. And, somebody actually wanted to be with me. I had to lock this down, I didn't want to be alone forever. I did notice there's a lot of red flags to start that relationship. There was a couple times where I had thought about breaking up with her, but I didn't have any other options. And I thought if I lost her, I would be, she was the one. So we did end up getting married. I was excited and worried at the same time. Like I said, there was a lot of red flags. She was a very insecure person, like I was. She would get very jealous of if I talked to somebody or if I was working out. She would accuse me of cheating. A lot of things, a lot of issues. I had similar issues too, so I don't blame her for any of that. It's just, I could tell that this is not a relationship that I wanted. But once you're married, I was always raised being told you have to stay with it. You got married, you have to fight through thick and thin, even if, it's not the best relationship. And I think some of that came from my parents' relationship. I never saw them being affectionate with each other. I never saw them kiss each other. They don't talk great about each other. They don't like to even hang out with each other. So I guess I just assumed that's what marriage was. You spend some time together. You obviously do love each other, but you want to you're just not getting by, or you are just getting by. For me, because of her and my insecurities, I didn't work out at the gym. I just played video games all the time. I remember I would think, I hope she comes home late today so that I can just play my video games even longer. My life revolved around being mediocre at my job, which was just a means to make some money, nothing I was good at. I was actually terrible at it and never really wanted to do it, but it paid me enough. But yeah, so I would play video games all day. Then on the weekends, we were in small town Wisconsin, so it was always, what do you want to do? I don't know, what do you want to do? And it was just not a very good relationship. We could have fun together, obviously. We did still love each other, I guess, but it just wasn't working out. And because you're supposed to just work it out, we went through this up and down cycle, I don't know, several times over 12 years. There's several times we should have broken up, but we didn't, and we just kept going. Maybe that's how it was supposed to work out, because my life ended up changing drastically after the divorce. But while we were married, because I was comfortable with where I was and I thought I was pretty much stuck with this girl, I can't just get divorced, so why do I need to improve? But we did go through some tough times, and I started looking at ways to become a better man. You know, at the time, I had been overweight, so I was starting to get high cholesterol, and I was addicted to eating fast food every day for lunch, so I was not the healthiest guy at all. And, you know, I thought that was the way it was. That's how my dad is. He's overweight, he watches TV, he plays video games, he likes his marriage. They've been married for 30 years. That's what you're supposed to do. So, comes time, we're, having some fights around, I think maybe January of 2017. And I start realizing that if this is gonna be over, I need to start learning how to improve myself. And I learned some ways to be more charismatic so that I could meet new people, make new friends. And I started working out. I started going to the gym, and this made her very jealous again, assuming that I was gonna leave her and start cheating on her. So I reverted back to just being comfortable, staying at home, making sure she was my priority. I didn't have any boundaries. It was whatever you want, whatever's gonna make you happy, I'll do that. And obviously that doesn't lead to a good relationship. Women want you to have strong boundaries and to have a purpose. So we tried to work it out, I don't know, for the 10th time. And fast forward a few more months, it becomes her birthday, and she comes home and tells me that she's met somebody else, and it's over. So obviously I'm devastated. I thought she was supposed to be the one. I know we had issues, but we've been working it out.
Well, that was hard to watch. That was really, really hard to watch. And the reason why it was hard to watch is because most of you guys put yourself away from who that man is. But if you really look closely to that man, there are several things that you will notice, that I promise you that you will notice, that you can relate to with this man. Unfortunately, this man has been through some things. He's mentioned that he was chosen. As a man, I always tell y'all, man, they choose us, but we actually choose them. What we've built as a person, as a man, what we've done in order to be this great person, attracts them. I just want to say, shout out to this man for opening up, and we can use this as a teaching moment. What I want to ultimately say is that the first thing you have to understand is, and this is what you can benefit from the breakup, right? And I think this is the part where a lot of people don't really talk about. They always talk about the breakup or what she did, what he did, what he could have done better. But let me tell you what the benefits are from breaking up and moving on, because I think this is very important. One, I think peace over pleasure, right? I had to write little notes down, so if you see me, peace over pleasure is very important, right? If you're consistently stressed out at home, and you're arguing, you're getting disrespected, that just drains so much of your energy. They're drained so much of your energy, you won't have anything left. You really will not have anything left. So you have to be a person to make sure that you pick your peace. You have to pick your peace, right? And why does that matter, right? Daily stress Daily stress and letting things fester and losing sleep and snapping at people and being disrespectful. That matters. Why that matters is because that's long-term stress and that can kill you, right? You can be, stress will put you in the hospital bed. Stress will cause a heart attack, a stroke, obesity, all type of things, right? So you need to understand why peace over pleasure matters, right? Another thing, divorce can bring you peace back to your soul. There's no peace like your own peace, man. There's no peace like your own peace, man. I'm telling y'all right now, I'm out here spitting this game. Y'all click the like button for me right now, man. We cooking with grease. We cooking with grease. You know what I mean? Number two, and I think this is important, and I'm trying to have you guys understand. The stress will definitely kill you before she does, right? She could be at nagging, arguing, you know what I mean? High blood pressure, weight gain, no sleep, headaches. Yeah, that's all from pretty much stressing. And you can stress and man, you can snapping at people, you can get hurt. Like it's a whole lot of things that go in when you're stressing. And I think, that matters is because you're unhappy. You gotta, and you get unhealthy and like he mentioned, he was playing video games all the time. He also mentioned in there that I thought was crazy to me, as he thought because his dad did it, played video games, got out of weight, overweight, just took anything from the woman, never wanted a divorce because, that's just a thing to do. He thought that was okay. He thought that was the way to go. And this is why nice guys finish last, because this is a prime example of a man going into a situation that I would say was unhealthy. Very unhealthy. He should have been out of that relationship. He didn't even choose it. But I wanted to bring that up because I thought those are some of the key points, but also just the totality of what he's saying in that video. Shout out to that man. I mean, he's given us a way to communicate and talk that these are the type of things these are the lessons that we need to be learning, right? One of the things I wanted to say also, and this is like, again, this is, the stress kills, whatever. Walk away before that relationship buries you, right? That's first and foremost. It's going to bury you with your health, everything you are doing. Everything you are doing, you have to be able, I would say you have to be able to get your peace from everything you're doing, right? Mentally and physically, you have to do better, right? And so I think, again, those are some of the things. Another thing that I think we should talk about. Leave the manipulation behind. Leaving the manipulation behind is so important. If she's always flipping things on you, trying to guilt trip you, just playing hard games, you know what I mean? Just playing the game, trying to manipulate you to believing it's your fault when you're doing everything in this relationship to be cool and to be solid, right? Why does that matter? And I'm going to continue to bring this up. Why do you think that matters? That's a form of abuse. As a silverback, I don't think so, because they call it emotional abuse, but I don't really consider emotional abuse when it comes to men, because we have the choice whether to leave. Like, it happens, but it shouldn't. That's something I think that should never happen, right? Right? And I think that's just not normal for men to believe that this exists, because if you believe it exists, then you should leave. That's how I feel. So I'm just putting that out there. But also just getting a divorce in those situations when you get talked to like that, it just sets you up for long term. Um, it gives you your peace when you leave. I mean, you can't you you can't. I don't even think there's another word to say how happy you are when you get away from that situation. Um, I think another thing is that you're finding yourself again. I think this is probably the biggest part, right? You lost focus, right? You you lost focus of your purpose, your grind. Like he said, man, he was just cool with his regular job. He was cool with just getting paid. He wanted to play video games all day. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some level of unbalance there mentally for that man. But you can't forget your purpose. I've said this in previous videos. A lot of men talk about it, but you can't forget who you're trying to be. And that matters. A bad relationship steals ambition. Like he said, he was just cool with a regular job. He got in shape. She got jealous. So you know what? He said, forget that. I'm going to go ahead and just stay out of shade. She was jealous that, he was going to like another woman. That's because she wasn't doing her job. You know what I mean? Once you cut the dead weight, man, once you cut that dead weight, man, everything changes for your life, man. You know what I mean? You get to get back to you. You get to get back to doing things that's specifically for you. And that should never stop, even in a relationship. Remember, the woman's in a relationship with you. You're not in a relationship with her. You're in a relationship with God. She's in a relationship with you. She follows you. You follow God. And that's how it's supposed to go. Remember that. And a lot of people don't understand that. Men are not in a relationship with women. And I'm going to bring this up because I think this is a part of it too. But, lying to your kids, right? Just staying for the kids, that sounds good. But to be honest with you, kids are very resilient. You got to get up out of there. You got to get up out of there. That doesn't help. That doesn't help anybody, right? And, they're learning to accept this type of toxic behavior. Once they learn to accept this toxic behavior, I'm telling you right now, this is not something that's going to be good for them in the long term. This is not. And it's not going to be good for them in the long term because they're going to believe this is how things go. You got to be the example. You got to show them what strength means from a man and walking away sometimes, even from the person that they deem you should never walk away from. That's the truth, man. And I think a lot of people don't mention that, right? You got to be strong as a man and walk away from a situation people think you should stay with. When a woman walk away, normally what they say is, "Oh, what'd he do? Girl, it's gonna be." But when men walk away, is, "Why didn't you stay? You have a family, all that, right?" No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. No. Another thing is, right? I really believe, that cleaning up your life, cleaning up your bag, meaning, if she's draining your money, if she's, stacking credit cards, she's putting you in debt, her credit is funny, and she's choosing to me, if she's choosing to be not frugal with your money that you guys have together, I think it's very important to get up out of there, man. You know what I mean? When the love is gone, when the love is broken, and you got broken pockets, man, I'm telling you, bro, you will not be happy. Broken pockets and love don't mix at all. I'm telling you right now, when you broke, that ain't it, right? It ain't nothing about that. That's it. I'm telling you right now. Divorce can feel like a setback, but really, a lot of times it sets you up for the biggest comeback that you ever have. The biggest comeback that you will ever have is after somebody has dropped the fucking ball on you in your relationship. Woo! You come work out, you know what I mean? Ha, hit the weights, eat good, You outside talking all bad shots. I'm trying to give you the energy because I want you guys to understand how important this is. This is so important for you to understand your bounce back is your comeback. Your bounce back is your comeback. And last but not least, love yourself. You loving yourself has been invisible for long enough. You're right. What you was doing, that ain't love. That's punishment. That ain't something that should be done. That's something that shouldn't be done. Divorce ain't failure. It's freedom. And freedom gives you space to love you even more. It gives you space. I really hope that you guys got a lot from this video. And I really want you guys to like the video, subscribe to the video. Hey, man, rock with 50 on the mentorship, gatewaytogame.com. Also, if you want to book a consultation, my name is Mr. 1950. They call me the last traditional man on the planet. Peace.